So I didn't want to take medication. I think one of the meds they wanted to put me on was Xanax, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. Hey guys, how are you? So, really quick, if you have clicked on this video, it's probably because you saw the title and you are desperate. You are probably going through some sort of anxiety, depression, or both. You probably don't really know what you're going through for some of you. You've had some sort of loss, grief. It doesn't necessarily mean that you lost a person, but there was some sort of loss, maybe a loss of a job or something like that. So if you clicked on this video, you're probably here to get some insight, get some help. Maybe you've decided at this point you're willing to try anything just to get you out of the slump, just to get you out of whatever it is that you're going through. Maybe it's a bunch of hurt and pain and it's weighing you down. Whatever the reason is, I know that you clicked on this video because you are desperate and you need help. First, I need to say that I am not a doctor. I'm not a clinician. I am not here to give you medical advice. Everything that you hear here on this video or anything that you see is strictly me giving you things that I have done. It is my opinion. So my suggestion is to always go and consult your doctor, consult your medical team, and see what they say, and then make an informed, do your research and then make an informed decision. So first, my name is Sean. Wherever you are watching me from, the fact is that you are here. I want to give you my story and how I arrived at a place where I felt like I needed to share this with you. A little over 2.5 years ago, and please forgive my voice because I had a little cold, but around 2.5 years ago, I had a tremendous loss to my life. I lost my husband. He was very young, and it was devastating, right? Devastating to our family, devastating to me. It changed everything. It was so unexpected, and it put me and my entire being in a state of shock, a state of grief, of course, depression, anxiety. I was angry, and I didn't want to do anything. My mind couldn't function properly. It was hard for me to work, and I couldn't even live in my apartment that we had once shared, and so I ended up moving in with a family member, me and my children, for a little bit of time, just until I got myself a little bit together and I can, function. But like I said, that was a devastating blow, and many of you know, because I'm sure that you've experienced a devastating blow, probably is equal to or probably more, or I don't know. You're here because you've experienced some sort of something that took your mind and pushed it into outer space, took your body and just kind of discombobulated everything. And so at that time, I started going to therapy. In fact, I think I was seeing multiple therapists, and many of them were trying to determine if I would need meds, right? Because, like I said, it was hard for me to even think. And when I look back, it was a little bit foggy because I really don't know how I made it, besides my faith and the grace of God, But it's ironic because even in that season, even with how strong my faith was before all of this happened, I was devastated, and in all honesty, I hated God. I didn't want to talk about faith. I was really more angry that he let me live, and that I wasn't strong enough to even you know, take my own life as much as I wanted to. And I'm not saying you're weak if you don't do that, but for me, I didn't want to live. I didn't want to live. And many people around me were very scared for me. I was scared for myself because there were many days that I just had thoughts of, I don't care. And some people would be like, oh, but what about your kid? You have to live for your kids. Nothing mattered to me. Nothing mattered to me in that season. I didn't have hope. I couldn't see the future. I couldn't think of the future. And thinking of the past, that just hurt so badly. And for me, I just wanted the pain to stop. I had never felt pain like that in my life. Of course, I've experienced losses, and they've been devastating losses, but nothing compared to that situation for me. So, of course, my therapists, they were wanting to refer me to psychiatrists so that they can put me on medication. And I didn't want that because I know people that have taken meds. I know, just how they function. And I know that there were some side effects. I just didn't want to put something like that in my body and be with the possibility of being dependent on something like that. So I opted to just to feel the pain until I can find something else, maybe an alternative, maybe something natural that could help me to get over this hump, and hopefully that I wouldn't be so dependent on. So I'm sorry if you hear the cars in the background, but I have the window open because it's hot. And yeah, I mean, I have a fan, but yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. So I didn't want to take medication. I think one of the meds they wanted to put me on was Xanax, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. So needless to say, my days and my nights were rough. I barely slept. And when I would wake up in the morning, all I could do was just cry. When you are desperate, I know for me, it's, in spite of the fact that I was saying I hated God, in that moment in time, there were so many times that I would sit there and cry out and say, God, like Holy Spirit. I used to pray this every day, actually. I would ask the Holy Spirit, please take your hand and just put it on my heart, just so I can get out of bed. Please cover my heart, just so I don't feel the pain, right? I was desperate, y'all. I was so desperate. And, there's nothing that anyone can say to you in that moment in time when you're going through something like that. And granted, I know people they want to be helpful. No one wants to sit there and watch you suffering, and everybody kind of feels like they do have to do something for you. But in that season, there was nothing that anyone could say to me. And I've had some situations where people have said things, and it was just like, why? Why did they say that? But okay, everybody feels like they're helping in some way, shape, or form. And so, all you can do is shrug it off and let them. But like I said, for me, there was nothing. I went through this for a while, and then I was talking to a family member of mine, and she suggested lemon balm. So I said, all right, well, let me go research lemon balm. And so I did. In my research, I found and I came across lemon balm, but I also came across something called St. John's wort. And so I went ahead and I started researching the St. John's wort. And some of the videos that I came across, like there's one particular person, she was saying that she was taking the St. John's wort, and she found that it was working for her a little bit, like helping her to function, right? But she recalls one time when she she took she forgot to take it, or she didn't take it. And I don't know if she was trying to wean herself off of it, but she didn't take it. And she said that the depression and whatever it was that she was feeling before that, whatever she was feeling before that, it multiplied when she stopped taking the St. John's wort. So it was just like those feelings increased when you stop taking it. So I said, well, the least I can do is try it. Right now, I'm doing nothing. I'm just going through it, and I'm cold turkeying the pain, right? And it hurts so bad, right? It just hurts so bad. I mean, walking into a store and being reminded, I would just cry. Well, I would cry everywhere. Everything I would do, I would cry. And I was kind of just tired of it, and I didn't feel like I was being a good mother, like just trying to hold it together, for my kids, and having to run out of the room sometime, or sometimes just sitting there and just, after a while, I think they just realize, like, mom is just going through it, mom is going through it. But for me, it was eating me up, I didn't want my children to have to experience that. I didn't think it was fair for them to get this mom, right? I know things happen, but they didn't deserve this mom. And I just wanted to be better for them. They deserve to see me smile and all of those things, So I did go ahead and I said, you know what, let me try the St. John's wort. Maybe it'll give me a little bit of relief. So I went ahead and I got it, and I can't remember the milligrams, but it was typical over the counter. I went into like Walmart and I grabbed a bottle and said, okay, I'll just take it. The recommended dosage was 3 capsules, but I said no, I'm going to take 1, and I'll take it at night. And so I started doing that. And I remember the first night that I took it, the very next day, I did feel some sort of relief, and I can't really give you a full description as to what I felt, but I felt different than how I felt the day before, the morning before when I woke up, I want to say maybe I was a bit calmer, but I don't know that that's the word, because I wasn't looking to be calm. I was already calm. I just wanted the feelings and the emotions not to be so overwhelming. I wanted to wake up in the morning and still, if I have a memory or a thought of my husband, I didn't want to start going into this full-on, cry, like boo-hoo. I just wanted to, for a change, wake up and have some sense of normalcy. And so when I took it, I did feel a little bit of a difference. And so what I felt made me feel like, well, I'll do it again. I'll take it. So I continued. And I would take it at night. And I just felt a bit of a balance, I want to say, in my thinking and in my emotional health. It was just a little bit of a balance, and I could feel the difference. I think if you or anybody else was to try it, you would have to kind of report on what you're experiencing based on where you started, kind of like a benchmark type situation. But that's what my experience was with St. John's wort. And eventually I added something else to it. There's a brand called Aloe, and I went ahead and I noticed that there was like a stress tab. So especially like with the anxiety, because I noticed that when I would have anxiety, like say I would have a thought, and all of a sudden I would go into a panic, because it was like my mind was reminding me that my husband wasn't here. So for example, if I woke up in the morning, maybe I had a dream of him, and I woke up and then I would realize that it wasn't real, that he wasn't here. My entire body would just go into like a panic, like I was hyperventilating. And this is even with the St. John's wort. And I said, okay, in the morning, I'll take the stress tab, because maybe that'll help with the anxiety. And, understand, I was willing to guinea pig myself just to have some sort of reprieve or peace or something. So that's what I did. And I did feel a bit of a difference with both of them together. I think the panic attacks and the anxiety were less frequent. And I was smiling where I didn't feel like I wanted to smile, because for me, smiling made me feel guilty because, he wasn't here to share those things. He wasn't here to smile with me. And, we had a wonderful relationship and we laughed all the time. But he wasn't here to do that with me, and it made me feel guilty, and that would put me, into a bad space. And so I found that I was able to smile. I was able to be around my kids and, have some fun and not just, I was able to fight a little bit more. Like if there was a part of my brain that made me think that I should stay in the house or I should not go and be around people, I had more strength, I think, with these supplements to fight against those thoughts. I still had thoughts that I didn't have thoughts of the future, but I still had thoughts that I didn't want to be here, but they weren't as strong. Until one day, I forgot to take the St. John's wort. And I went to bed. I must have been like really tired, and I did fall asleep. And my sleep was choppy at that time, so I would fall asleep, but then I would be up a couple hours later. And then I'd fall asleep again, and then I'd be up. And then by the time morning hit and it was time for me to get up and do, I was really tired. But so I forgot, and how I remembered that I forgot was it took me, I had a thought that took me into such a dark hole. Oh my gosh. It was stronger than before. And then I thought back to the girl in the video and how she said it takes you, into like you'll have stronger thoughts of depression and stronger thoughts of suicide. And it scared me so much. And I had remembered, oh my gosh, I didn't take it. So I had to take it. But then the thought was, oh man, I'm going to be dependent on these. Like if I stop taking it, what if I forget the pill somewhere and I'm out? What if I didn't take it the night before? What if I go and sleep overnight somewhere and I forget to take it? Like, I'm not going to be any good the next day. Like, I'm going to be horrible. And I just didn't want that. And it was just like taking me back into the mindset of like, it's the equivalent of the medication that I didn't want to take. So, I was still on the hunt for something else. At this time in this season, of course, I started praying again, right? Started just surrendering to God a little bit more and really relying on the Holy Spirit, because honestly, I couldn't do any of this without God. I couldn't be here talking to you. I wouldn't have been here talking to you if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for the Holy Spirit, if it wasn't for the blood of Jesus. But so one day in my stream popped up this, on my feed popped up this video by this man named Dr. Berg, and Berg, B-E-R-G. And I'd seen other videos, you get so much health videos and things like that, especially depending on the type of searches you've been doing. And he popped up this time, and he was talking about deficiencies with vitamin D3. And I want to say the title, I think that's what captured my attention, because he talked about D3 and the effects it has, D3 deficiency and the effects that it has on depression and anxiety. So it got my attention. So I went and I looked at the video. And in the video, he talks about when you're deficient in D3, if you happen to be grieving or you have some sort of, life event that would cause you to be depressed or have anxiety, it would actually increase, or it would make your grief process even longer and not so favorable, right? And I mean, not that grief is supposed to be favorable, but he was saying it had a serious effect on grief and depression and anxiety when you were deficient in vitamin D3. So I said, all right, well, you got my attention. Well, what am I supposed to do about it? So he went on to talk about taking vitamin D3. He says that, you know, he talked about people of color and how we're deficient in D3. If you're a person of color and you've gone to the doctor recently or you've had your blood work, 9 times out of 10, if you're only taking like a multivitamin, or you're taking D3, you're probably not taking it correctly. Excuse me. Then you would have a deficiency in the D3. The other thing that he mentioned was that even with blood tests, the blood work that they give, a lot of times they'll say that you're deficient or maybe you are sufficient, but you could be sufficient and still be deficient because it's the deficiency in your cells. And you can be deficient in D3 and still have the deficiency in your cells, right? So you could be deficient in both. And that was what he was talking about. And he said, typically doctors who say that you are deficient, they'll give you a prescription or they'll increase your IUs. That's how they measure the D3. You get a certain amount of IUs. So they may sell the D3 in like 2,000 IUs. I think there may be a lower IU, but to date I've only seen 2,000 IUs. But he said typically they'll say, okay, take 4,000 IUs. And according to Dr. Berg, 4,000 is not enough. He said that we should be taking at minimum 10,000 IUs of D3 daily. And he said that you can't just take the D3 by itself. You should be taking it with K2, magnesium glycinate, and I believe he said zinc as well, all together, because those help it to absorb properly in your body and into your cells. So he had my attention, needless to say. And so I decided that I was going to guinea pig myself. So I decided, and I know this was probably dangerous of me again, but I wanted to stop taking the St. John's wort and I wanted to stop taking the stress tab because I didn't want that to be the reason. I wanted to have like a clear picture as to what was really helping me. So I stopped taking it the day that I started taking the D3. So I took 10,000 IUs of D3. Which if you're taking the 2,000, of course, that's 5 little pills. They're usually this little. If you're taking, they do sell them in 5,000 IU and 10,000 IU pills. So if you're taking the 5,000, of course, you take 2. If you're taking the 10,000 IU bottle, then you'd only have to take 1. So I started because I had already had the D3. I was taking it. It's just that I wasn't taking it properly. And so I took the 10,000 IUs of D3. I took 1 K2, and I'll tell you what the dosage was of that. And I took 1 magnesium glycinate, and I took 1 zinc. And after day 1, actually I took it in the morning the first time. And when I took it in the morning, my stomach was killing me. It was hurting so bad because, of course, silly me, I took it on an empty stomach because in the morning I don't really eat until the afternoon. So I took it. I ended up having to eat something, of course. And I felt a difference, like almost within the next few hours, like aside from my stomach hurting, but I felt a difference with almost within the next few hours here and in my entire like being, right? Like it was just really weird. So then I said, all right, I'll do it again in the next day. But of course, this time I'll make sure that I eat something. So I did. And I felt even more of a difference, like energy, poof, right? I had energy that I hadn't had before. It was just different, right? It was different. And for the first time, I didn't wake up feeling I wanted to cry. I didn't wake up feeling like dread. You know, I woke up feeling more hopeful. And by the third day, oh my gosh, I woke up feeling like I was a different person. I think I woke up with a smile on my face. So by day 3, yes, I was feeling so much better. Better than I'd felt even before my husband passed away. And I was scared. I was so scared because I was scared because I was saying, God, like, is this real? Like 3 days ago, I was feeling like less than. And now 3 days later, I'm feeling like more than to the like third, fourth, fifth, sixth power. Like this is crazy. This is crazy. So I'm going to keep doing this for maybe another couple of weeks before I share it with people because I have to know that I'm not going crazy. And I'm not taking the St. John's wort and I'm not taking the stress tab. And I feel excellent. I feel great. I feel like nothing happened to me. This is crazy. So that's exactly what I did. But in the meantime, within that 2-week time period, I want to say maybe about a week and a half after, I started to gradually increase my children's mineral supplement intake as well. For the little one, I went ahead and I got the gummy D3s and the other things that I had, like the K2 and the magnesium. I needed to go ahead because I already had I already had the D3 gummies for him, for them, but I needed to find the gummies for like the K2 and the magnesium glycinate and the zinc. So I was able to do that, or chewable, something like that. So I was able to do that, and here we are. It's been about almost 3 months now, and I've noticed a difference in them as well. My little one, maybe not so much my teenager, but my little one, he's 10, and actually, yeah, both of them, I would say their energy was a lot better. If you ask the 16-year-old, hey, do you feel anything different? Of course, no. But my little one, what I noticed with him is that when I used to ask him to go get something for me or to do something for me, he would come back and go, Mommy, what did you tell me to do? Like he'd literally forget. And I know most kids do that, but it was becoming more frequent. And since he's been taking this, we don't have that issue. And also, I've noticed that his schoolwork, we were having some issues and difficulties with his schoolwork, the daydreaming, and since he's been bringing home like A's and B's now, he's been having a willingness to study, and stay focused on things. And so I don't know specifically what this D3 is supposed to be doing with every single function or area of your body, but I know for me and what it's done for me mentally, emotionally, physically, and I know what it's done for my children as well, physically and mentally, as far as the focus and everything is concerned. So I'm not here to tell you that this is exactly what it's going to do for you. I'm saying this is my story. This is what I did. This is what I tried for my children as well. Research it. Talk to your doctor about it if you so choose to, and decide for yourself if this is something that you want to, if you want to be the guinea pig, if you want to try it out yourself, right? For me, it was either going to work or it wasn't, you know? And I'm so glad, like I'm open to trying new things, and I'm happy that I am, because it gives me an opportunity to know what works for my body and what doesn't work for my body. I have to tell you, I did want to increase it because I wanted to kind of see it since I'm experimenting like this way. I said, well, let me increase it a little bit. And so I did. I didn't increase it a little bit. I doubled it. And when I did that, I felt like different, but in a negative way. It was more like I felt like a physical situation. So it felt like, things going on in my fingertips, and I felt like pressure in my head. So I was just like, whoa. Let me pull that back, stick with the 10, and continue, doing it that way. And if there's a need to increase it, so be it, but do it maybe gradually. Maybe my body went into shock the first time and it was like, whoa, what is this? So I just wanted to let you guys know this. There are there's hope, right? There's an opportunity for you to be better, right? I don't want to see anybody walking around depressed, hurt, all of the things that you could possibly have. You could possibly find something that will help you, that you don't have to be addicted to. And I just wanted to let you know that there was a day that I didn't take anything. I didn't take any of my supplements. And I didn't know that I didn't take any of my supplements until the very next day, because I was still the same. I was still happy. I was still ready to go. I was still positive. I was still, nothing changed. So I had the thought of, you know what? Because it was like a supplement that my body needed, it was like a restoration had taken place. So me not taking it didn't deplete my body of anything. Okay? So that's probably, why I didn't have any effect. At this stage in the game, am I deficient in it? I would say I'm not. If I was to go to a doctor and they would test my blood work, I don't know what they would find. And even if they were to say, well, you're fine, could I accept that? I guess. I have to go by how I feel and how it's making me feel. Unless something crazy happens, and then, it's a whole, I say, people tell you it's like cliche, but listen to your body. Listen to your body. Your body knows what it needs. And you know what? I kind of feel like God created such a perfect body. Like, how can a perfect God create an imperfect body? No, he created a perfect body. And I just feel like if we were to really pay attention and listen, there's certain things that our bodies need in order for it to survive here on the earth for longer periods of time than what we think. But we just have to make sure that it has all of the supplements and the nutrients, and the foods that we have right now, they're definitely not giving us all that we need. D3, that's the source, is the sun. And unless you're living in some tropical place or community and you're getting sun like 24/7, right? Almost, then you're not getting enough. Me, I live in the Northeast, in the New York City area, and I'm definitely not getting a lot of sun, especially, during the colder seasons, because no one's wanting to go outside like that anyway. And if you are, you're all bundled up, right? So I hope this really helps somebody. I don't have my husband here to share this with, but I said, you know what? I want to make sure that I get this out to whoever needs it, whoever is willing to just take a chance because they're so desperate and they're tired of feeling tired. I was tired of crying and tired of grieving and tired of being unhappy and tired of feeling guilty for smiling. And if this helps you, grab it, run with it, pass it on to other people. If it doesn't help you, then ignore it. Okay? Go back to the drawing board and ask Jesus, what works for you. But I felt compelled to share because this definitely worked for me. And I was like, wow. I was just shocked with how fast it worked. So, I will show you. I'm not endorsing any particular brand. This happened to be the brand, and you'll notice it's two different brands because I got the one that was on sale, maybe. So this is the D3. And if you notice, it's MCGs. MCGs are micrograms, but this is the IU. So it's 5,000 IUs. Okay. And I'll show you. The pills are not, in this case, I'd be taking 2 since it's 5,000. So here are the 2 pills. You could see the size. Okay. So you just take 2 of those and they go down pretty fast. The other one is K2. Here's the K2. All right. 100, again, micrograms. And I only take 1 of these. I will put in the description what Dr. Berg suggested. That's what the K2 looks like. Because he was saying if you happen to increase the D3, it was like for every 10,000 IUs of D3 that you take, you should be taking 1. I believe it was one magnesium glycinate. Here's the magnesium. Notice it's not just magnesium, it's magnesium glycinate. Okay? I know that they have other options for magnesium, but if it doesn't say magnesium glycinate, it's not the one that you need. This is the one you need. Okay? And that one is a capsule. The one that I have is a capsule and it looks like that. Okay? And I usually take 1. This says 240 milligrams. So you can follow what I do and just take the 1 and get the 240 milligrams, or you can get another dosage. But either way, I'm only taking 1 of these because I'm only taking 10,000 IUs. And last but not least, the zinc. The zinc is a low dosage. It's 50 milligrams. And I think that's pretty common, 50 milligrams for zinc. You might find like a lower dosage, but again, I'm only taking 1 of the zinc. And these all help with the absorption of the D3. And that's what the zinc looks like. Okay. So, yeah. Get yourself a pill organizer. It's a lot easier to just drop the ones that have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That way you can just kind of separate them and then open it up, put it in your hand, take it back. Drink lots of water. Lots and lots and lots and lots of water. You should be drinking lots of water anyway, but drink a lot of water. It's very helpful. And typical common things to do: walk. Get outside and walk. Right? Meditate. These are all things that I did to help myself outside of taking the supplements. Do typical things. Get yourself around happy people, right? Don't be listening to sad and sullen music, right? Common things that you can do to just kind of change the atmosphere a little bit. Don't listen to angry music because all it's going to do is make you angry. Then again, I don't know. Maybe the anger helps you to get, I don't know what it does for you, but I'm just telling you, these are little things that you can do outside of taking the supplements. Get outside and walk, be around happy people, try to find some comedy shows, that helped me a lot. Laughter. Laughter, believe it or not, I found that someone said, and I think it was a neurologist, even if you do a fake laugh, your brain doesn't know the difference, right? Your brain doesn't know the difference. And so it sends a signal to your body that it should put you in happy mode. So you might have to stand in the mirror and do a couple of fake laughs. But listen, I know it's tough. Fight back, ask God to help you, pray. Sometimes you may have to just sit and not say anything. I know that he heard my heart many times because I didn't have anything to say. And then there were times when I would just scream and yell, and I'm sure he heard my heart in that too, you know. But I am rooting for you. If you have any questions, if you want to reach out and talk to me, send me a message. You can send it to, send a comment, and you can send, I do have an email, godizmsnj at gmail.com if you want to send me a message. I have other platforms, but I think this would be the best way to contact me, or just simply leave a comment. I would love to hear what you're going through, and I'd love to hear what happened if you decided to try these supplements. I'd love to hear what your doctors say about all of this. But at this stage in the game, there's nothing that anybody can tell me negative about any of these things, because they help me 180 degree change in less than a week. So I hope this helps you. I know the video was long. I hope you stay to the end. And most importantly, you know how the algorithm works here. If you like, you know, even if you don't follow, that's fine. But at least like, so that it picks it up and it sends it to anyone who might need to hear this. I'm living proof that this may or may not work for you, but I'm living proof that it may. I'm confident that it might work for you. But again, I just want to remind everyone, nope, I'm not a physician. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not trying to cure you of anything. I am not qualified to do that. All I can tell you is my opinion and what worked for me and my family. So I hope it causes you to go and do your own research and tell me about it. All right. Thanks for listening to this girl. And I'll see you around. Bye.